Okay, all the rage right now is talking about mindfulness meditations, awareness practices, and this is a huge topic that a lot of breathwork practitioners, yogis, life coaches, and even therapists are all talking about. Now, therapists are in a slightly different category because they're doing some additional work with it. But there's a reason why the everyday person who just starts doing breathwork and meditation and like mindfulness, but mindful of what? Like aware of what? And that's the thing. So it's like we start to slow people down and then we're not giving them anything to go do or actually have tools or strategies to shape and change their lives. So that's what's driving me crazy right now, because simply slowing down and doing one breathwork practice, yes, you may get like a little bit of helpful catharsis where you release some like stored, pent up energy and emotion. And I'm not even knocking that necessarily. However, what we end up doing is we just get caught in a roller coaster cycle then of like experiencing relief for a moment, but we're right back where we were. So what the hell do we even then do with this idea of mindfulness or awareness practices? Well, what we do is we start to take the focus of, right? A lot of the times we're walking around very unconscious. We don't even notice that we have certain patterns, certain loops, certain thoughts that all come up during a certain time of day or a certain time of year or a certain time of month. And then we just are at the whims of these insane, like these insane patterns where like we don't even realize that we're not even in the driver's seat. So like things like, you know, we love holidays in this country. We love talking about a lot of Christian holidays. So Christmas, Easter, and, you know, American holiday of 4th of July, all these things. But what happens is that our body, you'll even notice that certain people start to get more anxious right before they come up to a holiday. It's because their body has a memory and their body is starting to brace for a pattern that it knows is coming, but our conscious brain hasn't slowed down long enough to notice and become aware of and become mindful of. So this is what a lot of coaches out there are trying to do, but they're not actually even always mindful or aware of what they're doing. And again, I've been in the coaching industry for a long time. I'm not even necessarily knocking it. I'm just bringing awareness to. Because the more that we bring awareness to, then we can do something with it. When we just become aware of it, it's like, cool, great, more problems, right? I don't think any of us are excited to hear about more problems right now. So literally strategies to fix this and to shift this are once we start, right? And there are steps in the process, and some people might be able to leapfrog, but it might be because they've done certain things. They have some backlog of work that they've done, but haven't been able to implement it. It's kind of like going to school and then not having a job for a little bit. And then you have this gap, right? But you're like, and then once you start working, you're like, oh wait, I actually did all the work already. So I'm also here to encourage you in that. But basically where I'm going with this is that, okay, so we start to do this mindfulness work. We start to become aware of ourselves and our patterns. And a lot of times we become aware of what's not working. Now, the craziest thing, this is some like neurobiology stuff okay, bear with me. I'm in a sauna. And for me, one of my patterns is that when I start to get hot, I can struggle to communicate as effectively and remember words. So please, yeah, I'll have grace for myself. But anyway, there's this thing where your subconscious, your brain doesn't understand the negative plus the word. So if you're like about to go up on stage and do a speech, and you're like, don't trip, don't trip, don't trip. Your brain is only hearing trip, 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 trip. And so then you might freaking trip. And that's a thing too. So it is helpful to become aware of the thing we don't want. So I don't want to trip. So what I'm going to do then is use that awareness to focus on what I do want. I want to walk across that stage with ease and can-do confidence and give my speech and feel empowering. And even if I stumble over my words, I am going to just keep going and not make excuses and be okay with being uncomfortable for a moment, right? Because what that will do is that's going to give your brain a thing to focus on. I don't know if you've ever shot like a bow, or even sometimes when you're learning to drive, when you're like, oh my God, don't hit that curb, and then you hit the curb. It's the same thing. So that's actually something they teach in driving school where I grew up, where it was this thing of look at the road where you want to go. Don't look at the thing you want to hit, because then you're going to subconsciously end up steering the car towards the thing you don't want to hit. So there are some pieces like that I think could be really helpful that kind of, I don't love saying need to, but would be incredibly helpful to be pairing with these, like dovetailing with these mindfulness and awareness practices. Because otherwise we're just becoming aware and we're actually just enacting the same pattern that we've been doing, which is downloading more information and never implementing anything. Or downloading more information, like, right? What do we do on social media? We consume. But where do we slow down and get clear on where we want to go? Because that actually is what creates long-lasting change. One of my mentors loves to say, like, what are you creating or not creating because of this? You're doing this thing. Right? So it's like, and this is something that why I love my mentors, because they talk about, they bring in a concept that I've been working with for a lot of years about, like, it's again, there's always two sides to the coin. And when we actually think about the opposite, we can actually have a lot more growth and perspective, because sometimes we just need to shift our angle on the thing. So again, if let's say there's a client, I love this example of, they're having problems with public speaking, they keep tripping, stuttering, stammering. Well, let's focus on what we do want. Because there's also, we'll get into something called the confidence continuum, which is from those mentors, the Condor Approach, Tal and Cole Whitty. And they talk about this concept that, again, I have actually been playing with for years, and then they brought it in with a different topic. They brought it in around the idea of confidence. So confidence, you are never lacking confidence. You always have confidence. So you've been lied to because it's really that you're either super confident that you can do something, or you're super confident that you cannot do something. You're never actually lacking it. So, and that's something that I've been talking about for a few years of, you're never lacking abundance. Abundance coaches who are telling you that you're not in abundance mindset, I'd like to have a word with them, because actually you're never lacking abundance, right? But you might be lacking abundance in the things you want. So like if I say that I want financial abundance, well, maybe I am lacking a positive bank account of thousands of dollars in the bank account. But personally, I'm not lacking in finances, but it just happens to be investment debt. So technically, I'm not scarce in my finances. I just have an abundance of the converse. So anyway, I love side quests. And here's another thing. One of my business too is we also do health and wellness, because our strategy is about incorporating the whole body. So we do life coaching, mindset awareness, integration coaching, but then we also work with professional mixed MMA athletes. We work with people who are struggling with some health concerns, things like that. But more holistic practices, because again, holistic just means treating the whole body, the whole picture, all the context. And that's a big part of our work. So here's your little tip for your little sauna cuties out there. So did you know that a lot of people, when they sauna, nobody's ever wiping their sweat off? But what's happening is your skin is your largest organ. And right now I'm sweating out and I'm detoxing, right? Chemicals, whatever, all the stuff that we don't want out of our body. But what happens is you're sweating them out. Then the sweat is staying on top of your skin. And because we're vasodilating, because our pores are opening, then the second you step out, if you're not immediately going to the shower and rinsing off, you're just reabsorbing everything. So like, cool. But if we're actually saunaing, not just for like, oh, I love being in the warmth, then it actually can be super counterproductive. So whenever you get in a sauna, that's usually why professional places who know what they're doing will have these small towels. They're not just for sitting on, that's for cleanliness, but they're also for wiping, because if you wipe your sweat off, you're going to not only get rid of those toxins, and leave them off of you, but also then that's going to promote more sweating, because the sweat is an intelligent body response, which for cooling purposes and detox purposes. But then you're going to then wipe off what you just did, which then your body's like, yo, we needed that. So it's going to actually promote more sweating, more detoxification. So there's your little sauna tip I wasn't thinking I was going to give today. But I'm probably hitting my max amount of time that I can be on my phone in the sauna before we start to overload it. But yeah, so basically like the mind, just to circle to the mindfulness stuff. So are we talking about confidence continuums? Are we talking about what we want to create in our life? And are they giving you or not giving you? Because here's the thing. If you have a coach that's pushing their own agenda on you and what they are telling you that you should, need to, or have to, they're probably pushing their own agenda and not actually being in tune with the client, with you. Because the thing is that you're your ultimate authority. And who am I to say what's actually going to work for you, or the pace you need to go at, or what you need? Because honestly, everybody needs something different. And this is this thing. I got this video where I was being like a little poetic about it, and I got freaking slammed. But basically, the point is that context is king. Everything is about context, even for you as a person. So one day you might need to work a little slower, and because that's the pace that you need. And then another day you might be able to go really quickly. But this is the point. So if someone is pushing you to do something and it doesn't feel right, that's also where the work is. Because it's not saying that you have to not accomplish, that you're slowing down and stopping on your work. It's about like slowing down so we can meet what's actually in the way. It's like if you constantly were getting roadblocks and you just were like, I'm just going to keep trying to push through the roadblock. But that won't work, because sometimes the roadblock is there for a reason. And it might be because it's like, oh, there's a pothole on the other side of this and I need to slow down to navigate either around it, or maybe there's something where you're like, oh, actually, if I just do this one thing, the roadblock will actually just slide out of the way. So resistance is usually where the work is. It's asking you to reevaluate, to clarify. And that's what the mindfulness is. Mindfulness is about slowing down, getting a perspective on the situation so that we can make a strategy to work with it. So again, mindfulness and awareness practices, for me, from my perspective, are the most effective when they're being paired with attunement, strategies, and generally somatic-based practices. Because I like to say the body is like earth, and the mind is like wind. The wind goes so fast, but the earth, the dirt, it moves a lot slower. Tectonic plates, for the most part, move pretty slow. So when we can slow down in that way, it'll also be that beautiful phrase, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. So we'll end up actually getting to our goals so much faster that way. And yeah, so there's a lot of things too about the last little nuggets I'll drop here are like, okay, are we having some understandings of what actual boundaries are? Most people don't actually know what a real boundary is. And some people think that there's also a difference between having too loose, too soft of boundaries and too rigid of boundaries. And boundaries versus requests are completely different, and most people don't know the difference between them. And expectations versus agreements, those also deeply intertwine with boundaries and communication. Another awareness practice is slowing down and getting clear on definitions of words for ourselves. Because if you go and ask someone, what does it mean to be safe? You're going to get a lot of different answers because of what it means to be safe for different people, right? Some people think that safety is just simply like not getting attacked by a tiger or not getting hit by a car. But the nervous system has a completely different, has a much more expanded version of that, because your nervous system also experiences physical threat and emotional threat the same. That's the secret no one's telling you. So there's a lot to do with even that word. Or what does it mean to be a trustworthy person? You ask people, you're going to get a lot of different answers. What does it mean to be a good dog? Wow. Well, I think this is the standard for a good dog, and someone else might think something else is a different standard for a good dog. So slowing down and getting clear about these definitions, these are some of the awareness practices that people are actually talking about, but no one ever explains it. And here's the thing. So then when I get into an argument with a friend, a loved one, a partner, a family member, a lot of time it's because we're not actually speaking the same language. We're not in mutuality. We're almost like half the time the fights that I get in with people, we're actually arguing the same point, we're actually in the same lane. We care about the same things. And then we're just literally arguing like about the color blue. I like the color blue. No, I like the color blue. I think it needs to be the color blue. Well, guys, these are both blue. This is what's happening the majority of the time right now. I want to feel safe and protect my family. Well, I want us to feel safe and protect my family, but because they're slightly different and each person is trying to advocate for their color of blue, this is where we're having clashes. And a lot of this could be solved with owning our own experience and looking at where are we projecting onto other. My color of blue is the best. No, my color of blue is best. This is the one that has to happen in order for us to move forward. Come on. But then it's like, okay, so what if we created healthy boundaries? What if we created agreements so that we all could be in consent with each other? Also, guys, the word consent, we have a lot of emotions tied to that word. It's not the word's fault. It's not the concept's fault. It's us being able to have tolerance for our own emotions attached to that word. So the word consent just means consentir, to be in feeling with, to feel with, right? And so there's like, almost like there is like a consciousness, whether that's an unconsciousness or a consciousness, of feeling, of being with, being with or in something. So if this blue, I have some things going on in my brain and my unconscious where this is the bad blue, this is the good blue. Well, what does good and bad even mean? Right? There is a depth, there is an ocean that we can get into, that we can start to be with. But do you have strategies for how to meet and deal with? Well, what happens when I just cannot accept this blue? And this is the blue that's everywhere. Well, what are your strategies for meeting yourself in order to be with those uncomfortable feelings? That's what people aren't teaching with awareness and mindfulness practices and strategies. Are these coaches familiar with edge work, boundary work, attachment theory, all of these things? And guys, just reading the book Attached is not having an understanding of attachment theory. Also, I think that book is a very small, basic beginner understanding of some of the maladaptive strategies or helpful strategies and things that the majority of people are dealing with. But that never gave any solutions. And it doesn't also be like, also, it's not bad if you have a certain attachment profile. It's not bad. It just means that you're working. It's just like having different cars. The car is running. It's getting you where you need to go. We can honor the intelligence of the vehicle that's getting us somewhere. But if it seems like it's creating problems, if your car is a flat tire, well, let's go to a mechanic and let's get the tire work done. We don't have to throw the whole car out, right? So we can learn to meet ourselves and have strategies to help us grow our ability to be with the things we become aware of. Okay. Thank you. I am starting to sweat and I need to check that my phone isn't going to melt with me. Okay. I'm Kelly Morgan and I am a nervous system integration coach out of Austin, Texas. I do events, coaching, group coaching, legal microdose containers. I have a Patreon to learn more about somatic practices. I'm trauma informed. I'm a somatically oriented practitioner. I teach about the nervous system and I teach about basic practices. I tend to go deep even in the shallows, baby.